Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all staying safe and I hope you can see the screen and hear us loud and clear. I'm Jana and I would like to thank you all for attending first of the three series of SAP Build webinars on SAP BTP, Low Code and Automation with SAP Build. I would like to make a few announcements. First, kindly note that this session is being recorded and will be published on our YouTube channel. Second, the Q&A mode has been enabled and you should be able to see a question icon on the bottom right corner when you drag the side menu bar. Feel free to press the icon and type any question during the session and we will answer them at the very end. The agenda for today is as follows. First, we will be talking about who we are, followed by SAP Build Solution presentation, which will be led by our Pre-Sales and Projects Director, Mr. Ajay. Then we'll be showcasing the solution in action, which will be covered by our Product and Solution Lead, Mr. Vinod. Finally, we'll have a Q&A session to answer all your questions. Before we dive into the presentation, I wanted to quickly share with you about Inflexion. We are an SAP Gold, Run, Build, Sell, Cloud ALM, and P2E certified partner for the MENA region. We have offices in UAE, in Lebanon, in Oman, and an offshore development center in India. We've been in business for more than 15 years and have helped successfully deliver more than 250 projects. We were able to provide quality service to our growing 10,000 SAP licensed users, to our family of around 100 plus experts, out of which 97% are SAP certified with combined 950 years of SAP solution expertise. I'm proud to say that we've been awarded the SAP EMEA South Award for Partner Excellence for the Marketing and Go-to-Market Best Practices. This award is presented by SAP to the top performing partners in Europe, in Middle East, and Africa that have made outstanding contributions to driving digital transformation for businesses. In conjunction to the Excellence Award, our team won the hackathon as the first runner-up in the Hack to Build, which was organized by SAP for SAP Build for the EMEA South region. We are a cloud-first company, and with our highly experienced and certified team of consultants, we are committed to helping companies become the best-run businesses on the cloud. As an SAP solutions provider, we offer enterprise resource planning, line of business, business process intelligence, and technology solutions across multiple geographies and industries, resulting in improved operational efficiencies, raised productivity, enhanced customer experience, increased profits, and ultimately growth. Our team of consultants not only provide implementation and rollout services, but can also migrate and upgrade your existing solution. We can help you extend and integrate with SAP or third-party systems as well. With all these, we serve as your single window provider for a digital transformation journey. Now that's about Inflexion and expertise in a snap. Now let me hand it over to Mr. Ajay Prasad, our Pre-Sales and Projects Director.
Thank you, Jana. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who has joined us today on the webinar. It's exciting time for us because of all the new awards that we have won during this year. At the beginning of the year, very positive Inflexion, and the team is excited as well. We would also like to welcome you in terms of the first of the three series of SAP BP webinars that we would be doing. And today's topic is essentially going to be on the SAP Build Apps solution. So let's start off with saying, what is SAP BTP? SAP BTP is a platform as a service offering from SAP. It is basically the foundation for the intelligent and sustainable enterprise that SAP hopes to build with its solutions. As you can see from the diagram, which is being presented at the moment, SAP Business Technology Platform forms the foundation of all the solutions technology stack that SAP has. on which we have the cloud ERP, which becomes the core aspect of your business of your business. And in the peripheral, we have the human capital management, the spend and business network, as well as customer relationship specific line of business solutions that are again extended on the cloud ERP and covered by the end to end business processes and business intelligence from SAP Signavio. So the whole solution is based on the business technology platform, and it behaves as the central point or bridge between all of these solutions in terms of integrating them as well as orchestrating data between all of them as well. Apart from that, using SAP Business Technology Platform, you can create, build, and run SAP extension applications or standalone applications to meet an enterprise grade platform for your business as well. SAP Business Technology Cloud has various capabilities. Five of them are and they are divided into five major categories, which is app development in order for you to be able to build new applications. There is automations in order for us to be able to provide you with robotic process automating or workflow management that can be also managed. We have the integration suite, which allows you for end-to-end integration with SAP applications or with third-party applications as well, with industry-leading APIs which are available, as well as open connectors and legacy integration capabilities as well, which are available in the solution, including data integration and process integration capabilities. Then we have on the data and analytics front, we have the SAP HANA database as well, which is available for you to use in order to use it as a database for your applications. We also have the data management and data warehousing capabilities if in case you want to bring and unify your data across multiple non-SAP platforms or heterogeneous platforms. And finally, we have analytics and planning, which allow you to be able to analyze, slice, and dice the information as well as gain insights in what exactly is happening on a real-time basis using the underlying SAP HANA database, as along with planning in terms of budgeting and financials with what if scenarios as well with SAP Analytics Cloud solution. This completes the data and analytics platform. And finally, we have the artificial intelligence capabilities that everybody wants to use and wants to extensively make apply in their applications as well as in their business processes. So we have chatbots, we have responsible AI, as well as we have machine learning ops that are available as service, which can be encountered or embedded in your applications as well. All of this keeping in mind that it's an enterprise grade scalable platform, so you can actually scale your application as you grow. And then it is very business centric because it connects to all the SAP applications that are there, that are available and published by SAP. And it has available on a broad ecosystem of partners like us who are able to develop and deliver solutions, and in a secure and compliant manner as well, keeping unified and simplification at the core of its features and functionalities. So that's about SAP Business Technology Platform. One of the service offerings on SAP Business Technology Platform under the app development portfolio is SAP Build. And SAP Build is a solution which consists of three major aspects or three major solutions that have been put together in order to ensure that you are able to build or extend existing SAP applications as well. So in the first one, we have SAP Build Apps. The first part of it is SAP Build Apps, where you can create apps for your mobile, tablet, or web portfolio with the low code or no code, which is what we would be seeing today as part of our demonstration in the next session of the webinar. We also have the automate processing in terms of the SAP Build Process Automation product, which allows us to be able to use drag and drop technology in order to connect in terms to build workflows as well as process automation workflows as well in the solution. And finally, we have the SAP Build Work Zone, which brings all of this together along with other SAP applications in a single interface for you to be able to seamlessly work and deliver your work in the most efficient manner capable. So we have build visually, you can integrate seamlessly, and you can also collaborate securely during this process using SAP Build, which is primarily developed on the SAP Business Technology platform and is deployed also on the SAP Business Technology platform as well. So the first part of the SAP Build application is the Build Apps, which is essentially a visual drag and drop, beautiful user interface without coding that needs to be done. And then we have the low code where we are able to develop the business logic uh, to support the UI in the front end in order to be able to develop and deliver apps. So you can create data models and business logic visually as well, which is what Mr. Vinod will demonstrate during the second part of the presentation or the webinar. Then we have the automate process where we can automate process visually, where we simplify the process and task automation aspect of it. And it is again a visual drag and drop tools that are used with very minimal configurations in order to interact and interface with SAP applications as well. You can also automate the workflow management and build in robotic process automation and AI capabilities at the same time, where the bots can be deployed on an offline or an online mode in order to be able to complete the process that you have started and initiated as well. This would be showcased in the series 2 of our webinar, which would be held in the upcoming weeks as well. Finally, we have the design in terms of the work zone, which is basically a portal which is meant for business sites to be built at easy, where we bring all of these components of process automation as well as build apps along with other cards from various other SAP applications that you might be using in your organization. So for example, let's say if you're using a purchasing from SAP on SAP ERP Cloud, then we can bring that card in here along with as well as the notifications and approval processes as well within the same application for you to seamlessly be able to navigate and work through these applications in a very seamless manner. So these were the three components which consist of SAP Build solution on the SAP Business Technology platform. Let's look at some of the real-time case studies or use cases where SAP Build is unleashing business expertise in different portfolios or how different users are able to use it in their business and in their different personas. So we have a customer service expert in the first case where they used Qualtrics. They wanted to optimize their loyalty program. So built an application that increases customer participation by 2x with the simple drag and drop tool and interfacing with Qualtrics in order to be able to deliver excellent customer service experience. Then we had a HR leader from Uniper who wanted to improve the employee experience in order for distance-based employees who are not in the office to be able to automate and process approvals, which basically they used again SAP Build in order to be able to extend it with SAP SuccessFactors, and the remote work request was processed 70 times faster because they were able to do it on the mobile apps on the go at any time, anywhere again. From a procurement professional, they wanted to streamline the supplier interactions, so designed a work zone based application which drives supplier engagement and handles 3x more invoices at the same time, where again the suppliers can log into the system which is created using SAP Build Apps, and they can post their invoices against the purchase orders that were issued in order for them to be able to submit and hasten their whole process. And all of these case studies were actually delivered in real quick time basis and not necessarily took months for it to be rolled out. And this was all done with low code or no code or citizen based applications that SAP Build App supports. Finally, we had the manufacturing guru who wanted to ship new products faster. So they built 10 apps to optimize the end-to-end manufacturing system and inventory management system in order to automate certain aspects of their business on their shop floor using mobile applications to hasten the whole input and data entry process and management of the solution itself. So these are real-time case studies that help build various personas in various aspects of the business processes to actually get the best out of the solution as recommended by SAP. Without further ado, that brings me to the end of my presentation and section of the webinar. I will hand it over now to Vinod to be able to demonstrate the low code, no code capabilities of the application itself. Vinod, over to you.
Thank you, Ajay. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. So today we'll be building together the timesheet management application. So let me give you an overview of what the application is going to look like. So before that, I'll be sharing my screen. So what I did is I just put some pointers here just to give you an overview of what we'll be building together, right? So like I mentioned, it is going to be a timesheet management application. We will have a login screen, a dashboard, and a timesheet screen. And on the timesheet screen, we will list the timesheet task for a particular user, which means the logged in user. And we will also provide an option to update the timesheet hearts as and when a particular timesheet task has been selected. So these will be, the screens, and just a quick overview of how the screens might look like. This is going to be the timesheet screen. I mean, this is this is the heart of the application, right? So we will have a scrollable container. We will list all the timesheet tasks here. These are just repeated purely for the UI purposes. And then at the bottom we have a tile where when a timesheet task is selected, we will display the details here. And when we when we put in these values and click on the update button, we should be able to update the value in S4HANA Cloud. So that's basically the idea. And what we'll be doing specifically today, it will be like what Ajay mentioned. We have split this entire application building into three different webinars. Today we'll be focusing on the screen building part of it, right? And in the next webinar, we'll focus on saving the data and the automation, wherein automation is for approving the timesheet that has been submitted. And the last webinar will be putting all the pieces together, wherein we'll have the work zone and we will have the supervisor approval displayed and everything. So it's going to be a complete application where the end user who enters the time, the approval happening, and the approved timesheet can be viewed. So that's going to be the entire application, right? And for today, like I mentioned, we'll be putting together the screens, and we'll try and bind the data which is directly coming from S4HANA Cloud. And the data structure for that would be we will have the projects defined first, and then we will under the projects we have the work breakdown structure. Under work breakdown structure, we have the project demand, and it is the demand which will have the users, activity, and hours which will be assigned, right? And if we have to relate this to what we'll be building on the application, the timesheet tasks are nothing but the project demand, right? And every time we update the timesheet, this will go in as a separate record. That will be the timesheet record, right? So you don't really have to, break your head much, because we'll be taking a look at all these items. I just wanted to give you a mental picture about what we'll be building today, right? So with that, let's go ahead and start, developing the application. I'll switch to the development screen. Give me one moment. So, as we all know, this is the Build Apps, right? I mean, SAP Build has three different components: SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Process Automation, and SAP Build Work Zone. And we'll be using Build Apps to build the application. So right now, this is the development environment which we'll be using to build the application. And just to run you through it, on the left hand side we have all the ready-made controls that we can just drag and drop and build the screen. On the right hand side we have the properties panel, to fiddle with the properties that we have on the screen. And on the top, it is the different modules that we have. So right now we are on the canvas. We have the
Vinod,
launch, the navigation, and so on and so
Vinod,
forth.
sorry to interrupt, but your screen is not refreshing.
I'm so sorry. So I am on Build Apps. I'm on the development environment now.
No, it is only showing us the timesheet zone.
Oh, okay, okay. So give me one moment, please. So are you able to see Build Apps development environment now?
Yes, Vinod, we are able to see the build apps development environment.
Great, thank you, Ajay. Okay, so so in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is, like what we mentioned, we have the login dashboard, then the timesheet, right? So I was thinking I'll directly jump to timesheet and then start building the screen because it's going to take some time. Like what Ajay mentioned, the build apps as such, the no code part is about putting the controls together, and there is some low code that we have to do, which means getting the data, binding it to the controls. We will require some coding that needs to be done, right? So I'll try and cover as much as possible in this given 30 minutes, right? So I'll be jumping to create a timesheet screen directly, right? So this are the screens that I have, and as a regular practice, what I do is I create a new screen and I'll call it timesheet. Click OK. Go back here. Go to navigation. And I have the timesheet here. So that's about it. So I have the timesheet. I have the icon. I want to call it timesheet, and it's selected here. Just click on save. If you notice, the we I just created a screen, and I'm just working with the navigation of the application, and I'll show you what I'm doing there. So click on launch, open preview portal, and this is my timesheet manager. There are different applications that I've been working on. So click on open, and there you go. So the one that we just created is already displayed here. We have the timesheet, we have the sample header and some text here. And since we are targeting to build a mobile application, so I'm in the mobile application mode now. And if you see, we have the left navigation. So what I'll do is, this timesheet header looks too much. So I am just going to remove it off. So here we go, navigation header bar. I'll select and say no. Click on save. There we go. It's gone. But we still have the breadcrumb, so we can click on it, get the navigation that we want. Basically, we have more space to put our controls and build the application. And now I'll go back to UI Canvas, do some cleanup. I don't want this. Yes, I need a title. And before that, go to layout, and this is going to be the layout of the entire application. If you look at how we can align the components and so on, come here, come to padding, clear all the padding, and if you see it is sticking to the top, select the control itself, change the heading to page primary heading, just making it look more like a bold heading, right? Header 2, and change the weight to bold. Also, I want the text to be on the center, right? So now I'll just click on save. And if you notice, I'm not launching the application every single time. It is launched once, and whatever changes that I do, it is dynamically updated here. I'm already able to see, the heading here, right? So let me change the text to timesheet. And also, if you notice, the breadcrumb and the timesheet, the headline is not in line. So I'm going to give some padding there. We can either choose to give the padding here, or we can come position, give some 10 pixels, click on save, and there you go. It looks much better, right? And the first thing what I'll do is, keeping reference of the timesheet, we need a scrollable control first, and then a tile. So let me go ahead and put a scrollable control. And here we have a scroll view. So as and when we put, add controls to the screen, there is this tree which is maintained. The tree is going to give us the tree structure of the control. So I have a title, and then I have a scroll view, right? So that's the order in which I put the control. So let me also give a name to the title here. I'll call it label title. Okay. And the scroll view. Scroll view main or scroll view timesheet, so that it's easy for us to go and pick the right controls when you're working on it. So that's the scroll view. And inside the scroll view, I would like to have a container. A container is basically something like a div control, if you guys are familiar with the HTML, right? So you put a container first, and then inside the container you get to play around aligning whatever controls that you want to put in there, right? So I have a container, and I'll call the container name. All right. So far we have a scroll view, and then we have a container. Scroll view is basically this. If you have a container, the difference between a scroll view and the container is a scroll view will give you the scrolling option, right? You can set the height, and you will get the scroll left, either vertical scroll or horizontal scroll. But a container is just going to contain the controls, and it is not going to give any scroll. So that's basically what the difference is. And because we're going to split the screen into two sections where we are displaying the timesheet and the details, I am using a scroll view for the top section. So that's that. And so inside the container, so I will use a row. Row is once again a table structure, right? So I would like to, uh, have one row, the parent row, right? So which will have the data part of it and the hearts, and inside that I will have another row. So this is going to, in fact, we can make this into one single row as well. So I'll just cut and I split it here. Right, so there's one, and if you look at, I am done with dragging, so it gives me the duplicate options here. So I just duplicated it, so there are two rows now, right? And I'm going to duplicate one more time. So there are three. So the first one is going to have the task name, so for which I will drag and drop a text field inside. We haven't done the alignment yet. We will be doing it shortly. So I have been, just using this thing, website launch. It could be anything, the task name, right? And which company. So I would like to display the project name. In other words, if the project name, usually it could be the module name, or it could be the company name itself, right? So which company that we are launching the website for, right? So let's say Inflexiontech City. And the third row rather. So I'll put another text box, and here I would want to display what kind of work is done, right? So it's development. So we'll call it development. So that's basically it. So we're going to launch a website for Inflection, and the work, the activity that we'll be doing is software development, right? And on the right hand side, let's display the hours, the number of hours that is assigned for this one particular task, right? And ideally, once when this control is ready, we'll be using a repeater, right? So I'm going to drag and drop a text box here. So this is going to have the number of hours. I'll just put it as 15. and I would want to have another text box, and this is going to display the units. It's 15 hours, right? So that's basically what it is going to be. And if you look at on the bottom section, the tree here, like what I was mentioning, so we have a title, we have a scroll view. Under scroll view, we have container, and the container has everything else. So row one, under row one, we decided we'll have two more rows, right? And also the the time controls here. So going into cell two, just for the alignment purposes, I'm going to add a container here. And if you look at, I can even align the container just by using my tree view. I'm going to drag the container, put it in cell two, and I'm going to put these two text fields into the container. This could be done also, right? This is pretty, simple and straightforward. And I will select my container. I'll go to layout, and I want the controls to be displayed in the horizontal fashion. And there you go, it is switched, right? Uh, at the same time, the order has to be the other way. So 15 hearts, it's like that. And these controls, I'm fine. And just to do some beautification, uh, let me select the container here, our main container, what we have, and then go into styling. And let's say we're going to make it look like tiles, right? It'll have some shadow and things like that. At the same time, if we have to give some padding, we can also do that. Some 5 pixels, just that it's not sticking to the screen. And I'll set it to custom. Some 95% or maybe 98, but very close. Right, so far we have just put some controls, and you should be able to see this already here. Okay, and then I want my website launch to be bold. So I will go into the style and primary paragraph, click on edit, change the text color to, let's say, blue, and I'm going to make it block bold here. Right. At the same time, I would also want the font size to change it to, let's say, yeah, because that's going to be the gist of the timesheet. It's going to tell us what is what. So that's that. And then the company name. Company name, I'm going to do something very similar. Edit, I'll leave it as black. I'll change the font size to, let's say, 3. No, it's big. 4. And then turn down, change this to bold as well. It still looks big. Let us say 5. Yeah, looks neat. And the last one, which is the development activity itself, right? So come, edit, change the color to gray, and reduce the size. Size, make it small. All right, great. So that's that. We'll do some changes to the padding and how it should look like and things like that. And this we wanted to be really bold. So I will make the size to be 15, which is like header 1. But it's pretty simple. Just select the header and it sets the size there, and we'll make it bold. And hearts will not touch. We'll just play around with some alignment here, and that should make it look good. So far, I'm sure you're able to follow. Please let me know if I'm going very fast. Right, so we have the typography here, and we'll check to see if there is any effects that we can do. The opacity and the backface visibility not really required. So we will go into the layouts. We'll go into positioning, and we'll clear them. At the same time, there is some alignment that we might have to do for the row itself, the row which contains the text box, right? So row 2. That's the default rule. We can set the height. And what I'm basically trying to do is for each control, I'm basically trying to show that whatever controls that we have, the properties, how it looks and how we can play around with it. So the properties tab itself gives us some basic information about what the control is. In the style, we have some ready-made styles that we can upfront use it. And if you're still interested in making some modifications, you can click on edit and go ahead and do modification to the style. And if you are playing around with how the control has to look in relationship with other controls, then we go to the layout of the control, the layout of the component, and then we have upfront we have options which says layout, width and height, and position, right? So this is basically how we do things. So let us say we have these controls in place and we wanted more of this, right? And this will be driven purely by the collection of objects. Okay, so for the scroll, we'll kind of set a height because we will have more than one tile displayed inside it. So I will go here and I will select custom. Let's put the height. And I say I can say either pixels or percentage, right? Let's say I'm going to use some 350 pixels. And if you notice, it just pulled itself down. And also we have these options where we can show horizontal scroll, do you need it, show vertical scroll, and so on and so forth, right? So going back to the container, so we would want to repeat this container. So before we repeat the container, we will have a collection objects and everything created here. And this time what happens is usually the ready-made option that we have from SAP Build Apps is we go to data and we start adding the collection objects. But since it's a complex object that we're going to create, and if you notice, this is the object that we wanted to create, and not all properties of all objects will be consuming. We need some properties from each of the objects. So we will be building this object. So having said that, what we'll be doing is, we will not be adding the data objects directly. Instead, we will use the URLs and we'll be creating our own objects here, right? So to begin with, I'll go to page variables, click on page variable here, and I will say collection object timesheet. So this is the object that we'll be using, and I will call it a list. And my list object is going to be an object, and that is going to have internal properties, right? So to begin with, this is my Postman. I've been using Postman to identify what objects, what properties, and so on and so forth. So for sure, I need the project demand UUID, right? So I'm going to create one of this. I don't need ID here. I can might as well make use of that for the hours. So I'll go ahead and make use of that for the hours. So we have two properties created, and what we will do is, as and when we add the items from different sub objects, we will go ahead and add the necessary properties, and we will continue building the application. So for now, it is going to be a collection of objects of timesheet type, and we just have two properties for now, right? I'll click on the save button, come back to the screen, select the container, and I will choose repeat width, and we'll be using the page variable, and this is the only object that we have created so far, so we'll select that, and there you go. So the controls are repeated now, and we will also need to select the actual properties which is going to bind these values, and we don't have them right now because we only have two properties. One is the hours and one is the UUID. Yeah, we can actually try and bind the hours to the hours field there. So data item and repeat, current, and then the quantity. So this is going to be the hours. Let's say I want it to be 50. That's just a preview one, right? So far, so good. We will go back, take a look at it. So we don't have any data, so it's gone now. and then we will be binding these values. So that's that. And like I mentioned at the bottom, we want a tile to display the details of the selected timesheet, right? So I'll go ahead and add a container. And just to make it look good, I'll add a list divider. So this gives a segregation, a separation between the scroll view and the container. And we'll go ahead and add some controls. Again, I will add another container inside. And here I think I should be working on the names. Otherwise, it will be pretty confusing. Container 2, advanced, timesheet, details. And then container 3. Call it as header. Because I know we are in timesheet details and this is the header, right? So for the header, once again, I will have the text field. Oh, sorry, I think we'll go with the row because we have multiple rows. Right? So this is the row that I'm going to do, and then within this, I can use this. Or let me show you another quicker option. So select this row and delete it, and check this now. I have the container main, and we know for sure everything inside the container, main container is under row 1, right? So I've selected row 1 from the tree, and I'm going to click on duplicate. There you go, we have a duplicate of that. And the duplicated row, I will just drag and I'll put it inside header container. And we have the structure, we have the task title, we have the project name, and we have the activity, hours, and everything. We just have to do some quick alignments here, right? And that's basically what I'm trying to say. It's pretty quick as to how we can put together a UI. We just have to spend a little time in doing the alignment. Otherwise, it's going to be like super fast. So this I'll make it 300 because I need some space to put the text field controls. Click on save. Then comes the input controls. Input field. If you notice, this is a ready-made control where we have the label and the text box together, right? So going to the properties, I will add number of hours, and the placeholder value will be number of hours also. And let's duplicate this. And here I wanted to capture some notes, and let's say we say the comments, something like that. And at the bottom, we need 2 buttons. We need an update button and a cancel button, right? So this button, I'm going to call it update, and I'll set the width as custom width, and then it's already doing it 35%, and also in the layout, either I can play with the layout here, or what I can also do is come and position the button to the right hand side. See this button I selected, go to position and click on this icon here, and it is automatically pushed it to the right hand side. And I want a duplicate of this button, so this button is going to be my cancel button. And if you notice, my cancel button, update button, and cancel button are aligned vertically. And if I have to make any changes, if I have to make it horizontal, this will affect the alignment of the entire page. So I will get a container once again, put it here. And if you notice on the right hand side, once again, I'm going to drag this button, put it in the container, drag this button and put it in the container. For the container itself, I'll go change the layout to horizontal. There you go. And the alignment will be to the right. So it is that simple. Whatever controls that we have, we can just drag and drop them, and we can play around using the tree view here. It's much simpler and better, right? And we almost have the screen, built. I'll click on the save. So we have the timesheet and we have the style here. It's not aligned, I understand. We'll do that alignment now, right? So that's that. Before, we can actually do the alignment at the same time. What I would like to focus on is how are we going to do the fetching of the data. We'll do a bit of that, and then we'll see how we'll come back to the alignment part of it. Right? So what I'm interested in is when the page loads, I want all this data to be loaded, and on click of it, we will load the details, right? So I will pull the plumbing area. So this is where all the events happen, the backend work, the page that we need. So we have two events, on the page mount, which is nothing but the page load, and the page focus is when we, go on the page, right? So I think I'll be using the page mount, and what I'll be doing is the first thing that I want to do is uh, so I want to make an HTTP call. So I'll go to marketplace and say HTTP. So this is more specific. I'll click on it and install. Okay. So what I just did is, in the default set of actions that are provided in Build Apps, I don't have an option to make a custom HTTP call. So I added this control. It's available in the marketplace, and there are many other controls also, right? So if you want to go there, make some searches, figure out what you want, you can do that, and so that will get listed in the installed tab. So I will drag and drop one of the controls here. Okay, and if you notice on the right hand side, we have the options to put the necessary values. So I will get these values from my Postman. And if you notice, once again, in the interest of time, I have hard coded the user ID here, which is called the project demand resource assignment agreement. Okay, so that's the property name. So I'm going to take this entire URL and I put it here. So this is not going to fetch all the timesheet tasks, which in other words is called the project demand. It is going to fetch project demand for a specific user, and this is going to be a get request, and we also need to add the header. So the header will be authorization, and it needs a bearer key. I'm sure we are familiar with using Postman, right? So in most of the cases when we use the APIs, we will make use of this. So that's about it, and my output is going to be JSON, right? And if I need to wire this, so on page load, the first thing that I want is to make a call to this HTTP, right? And from here, what I would want is, so this is going to return a response like this. Okay, so this is going to be a collection of tasks for a particular user. So for the selected user, which is myself, 52, right? I have 4 items, 4 records which are coming in, and the structure is there is an object D, there is results, and under results I have the necessary properties. So I can expect that, and if I have to run through this, I'm going to use a JSON action node, and let me call this JSON parser. JSON parser. I'll give a number also. I mean, just to avoid it if there's any confusion. So JSON parser. On success of this, I will have to parse the value. So I'm going into the JSON parser now. Just a quick heads up. So the JSON parser has the input values. It has the area to write the code. We can edit it, right? And then we need to define how and what the output is going to be, right? So my input is going to be coming from the HTTP request, and it is going to be the raw, response body. So I've selected it. So what it's going to look like, we already saw. This is going to be coming in as a raw text, and that's what I'm reading here. And what I'll also be doing is this is the format in which the data is going to come in. Inputs and input one, and I have an option to add multiple, more than one input as well. So I'm going to stick with just one input, and here it is. It's inputs input one, right? So I need to do the JSON parsing. So what happens? Either I create a constant variable or a variable itself. I'll call it JSON, and then JSON dot parse. So this is going to be inputs dot input one, and that's about it. So we have just parsed the JSON, and I'll be returning the JSON object. I'll be returning the JSON object. So it looks simple, but then we can do a lot of stuff here. So if you notice from the output, we can decide on the number of outputs that we want to have. And every time we increase the number of output, the nodes here on the control, on the output nodes, you will get those many output nodes, right? So for now, I'm just going to leave it with one, and the structure is going to be, the output is going to be of type object, and results I'm not interested. I'm going to add a property called JSON, and because that's what I'm returning here, JSON is going to be of type object, and JSON internally is going to have ID, right? So before that, I'll delete the results. ID will also be an object, and what I'm talking about is this. We have JSON has this, and ID is an object, and ID has results. I, what happened to the screen? One second, I think it switched. Timesheet manager. I'm opening the application once again. Continue. Okay, so we were, working on the JSON parser control here. And like I mentioned, we are returning JSON, and we don't want result. We want JSON. So I'm going to add this. JSON is going to be of type object, and JSON is going to have ID. ID is going to be an object also, and under ID, I need results. That's what I'm interested in, and results is a list, right? And this ID I don't need. So results is going to be a list, and under list, so this is where the actual properties come in. So I will take the project demand ID. Results is a list, and list item type will be an object, and that object is going to have properties. And ID. And then I'll be taking the hours. So these are the two properties that I would need, and add them. And both of these are going to be text properties. So just quickly, what happens is I'm going with just one single output, and the output is going to have JSON. JSON will have internally the ID, which is coming from the HTTP. Actually, the ID has many other properties, but I'm interested in results. So ID, it's not ID, it's just D, sorry. It is just a D. Will I be able to make modifications? Shoot. Okay. I think I might have to create this. Okay. So there's going to be D, and D will have results, and results are going to have multiple items. And that is why I created results as a list, and list type will be object. And under that object, whatever properties that I'm interested in, we don't need to create all the properties, only the properties that I'm interested in. I'll be creating those properties. And for example, project demand UUID, and then project demand, the time, and that's about it for these two. I think I'll have to create it once again because otherwise it will not recognize ID, right? So, so once when this is done, I'll just continue, okay, because we have just 2 minutes. So once when this is done, what I'll be doing is, so the output of this, I'll be setting it to a page variable. So in this case, what I have to do is in the page variable, as you all guessed it, right? So I'll be setting it to our custom collection object, and the custom collection object, I will be exactly binding. Sorry. No. So the custom collection object, and here my binding type will be output from another and from JSON parser one. And I know this is going to be the object and I need the results from there, right? So if it's not going to allow me, that's okay. I will once again come and go to formula, come here and output from another variable. Yeah, so this is what I'm interested in. And if you notice, this is the results that we created, right? So I will go ahead and create that as a result. So all the results are going to go into, my results object. And the best part is the collection object properties and the output that is coming from JSON, the property names are going to be same, and it is going to be automatically bound to these controls. So this is that. And once when we have this, going back to the structure. So right now we have just fetched the project demand and the hours. We still have to fetch the activity, users, breakdown structure, and so on, right? So what we'll be doing is the output of the once when the page variable collection, once when the output of JSON parser one value is set to the collection object, we will continue doing the same thing. And if I have to quickly show you, I already have this in my sample application, right? So it's going to get a little complex here. And if you notice, I made the HTTP request call, the JSON parsing happens, I've set the value. From here, I trigger another JSON. So let's go into this one here. And if you notice, this time I'm taking the value from the local list object, and I'll be reading the values one by one. And for every object, I will be setting the value, right? At the same time, I will also be, I'm sorry, for every object, I'll be making an HTTP call to get the sub object. And this one is basically to play with the counter. When I'm parsing through the JSON object, I will have to keep a count of what object I am in, right? And so here, if you notice, I will make another JSON parser call, and this is going to be just running through the written object that I got, and then binding that to, once again, binding it to the sample variable, right? So this is the sample list. What I have is equal to the timesheet collection that, I have on the screen. And if I can just run this application itself, there you go. If you notice timesheet testing for SF, time testing for SF, this is REST. So these are some of the sample values that we have. And, do you see this RES and for demo Vinod? So these are some of the, tasks that we have. And, as and when we continue, so we should be getting the project names, we should be getting the activities, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what it is. That's a sample application that I've been working on. I wanted to repeat that same thing during the webinar, and that's what we are doing here. Ajay, it's time. You want me to continue? Hello.
Well, thank you for the extensive presentation and workshop that you just conducted.
Thank you. I'm really sorry. There are too many things that that goes in to the application that we are building, and I hope I was able to give a heads up on everything that we are doing on this application.
Absolutely. I think we will quickly dive into a survey now, and followed by Q&A. So the audience should be able to see, the attendees should be able to see the survey right now on their screens. And we would encourage your participation in the same. And the Q&A mode is open as well. Please feel free to ask any questions in the meantime. We would be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you for participating in our survey, sharing the results. So, any questions before we end the session? Please feel free to use the chat box or the Q&A mode. While we are anticipating a few questions, I think the next webinar would be the extension of the same application, where we will be looking at process automation in terms of workflow, or what we had planned is something more adventurous in terms of artificial intelligence and robotic process automation, where we would be able to extract an Excel file and upload it onto the timesheet as a bulk, and this would be done anonymously by the bot that would be developed and deployed during the session. So, any questions? Thank you, everybody, for your participation. It was a pleasure hosting you all. We shall share. I see someone was typing a question. Please do feel free. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to your participation in the next session as well. Thank you, Vinod. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's event.